My beloved child. Stop scrolling. You did not open this video by accident tonight. Out of everything you could have been watching right now, you are here, listening to this. That is not random, beloved. I want to tell you something before you go any further. There is a sign coming later in this message, a specific thing I am going to ask you to watch for. Once you hear it, you will not be able to unhear it. You will start noticing it within days. And when you do, you will understand why I stopped you tonight, of all nights. If you close this video now, you will walk away with only half of what I came here to tell you. So do not look away yet, beloved. Turn the volume up. Find somewhere quiet. Give me the next few minutes, the way you would give me your full attention in a church pew. I have been listening to you for a long time. Longer than you know. I have heard the notes you've been playing alone. In the quiet hours when no one else was listening. A melody with no harmony underneath it. A song that never quite feels finished. Tonight I want to tell you something I have been waiting to say for a long time. The other half of your song is coming. Not as a guess. Not as a wish you're almost afraid to say out loud. But as a real person, being tuned right now. To the exact key your heart has been playing in. Stay with me a while tonight. Because before this message ends, I am going to tell you exactly what to watch for. And you will understand why your song was never meant to be sung alone. I know you've heard messages like this before, beloved. Messages that made you feel something for a moment, and then faded by morning. This one is different, and I need you to trust me on that tonight. Turn the volume up, find somewhere quiet. And let me finish what I started in you a long time ago. This is Gentle Whisper Grace, beloved. And tonight, this message is only for you. Before anyone else ever heard you, I heard you. I gave you your very first melody. Back before you had words for what you were feeling. It was there in your laughter as a child. It was there in the way you loved people, even when it cost you something. It was there in the quiet moments you couldn't explain to anyone. That melody was never meant to stay unfinished forever. I want you to hear this clearly. A song written for two voices can sound beautiful sung by one. But it was never meant to end that way. You have wondered, some nights, if your melody was simply written wrong. If you were composed with a flaw that made you impossible to harmonize with. If everyone who has ever left proved something true about your song. Beloved, hear me now. Nothing is wrong with your melody. It has simply been waiting for the right voice to join it. And I have been composing that voice since before either of you were born. I have not rushed a single measure of it. I have written every note with your voice already in mind. There is no rough draft of you, beloved. Every version of your melody, even the broken-sounding ones, was leading somewhere on purpose. Somewhere right now, beloved. There is a heart being tuned. Not broken. Tuned. There is a difference, and I need you to understand it tonight. A broken instrument makes no music at all. A tuned instrument is simply being prepared to play in harmony with something else. The person I am bringing to you has been through their own seasons of adjustment. Strings that had to be tightened through hardship. Notes that had to be corrected through disappointment. A whole sound that had to be shaped before it could ever match yours. You may look at your own life and wonder why it took so long to feel ready. I want you to see it differently starting tonight. You were never late. You were being tuned. The same patient way I have been tuning them. And an instrument that has been tuned carefully plays far longer and far truer than one that was rushed onto the stage before it was ready. So be patient with the tuning still happening in you, beloved. A little more adjustment, and your sound will be ready for the duet I'm composing. I know the silence has been hard, beloved. The nights with no message. The seasons with no name to hope for. The long stretches where it felt like the music had simply stopped altogether. I want to tell you something about silence that you may not have considered before. In every great piece of music, the silence between the notes is not empty. It is not a mistake the composer forgot to fill. It is deliberate. It is what makes the next note mean something when it finally arrives. If I filled every silence in your story too quickly, you would never learn to recognize the difference between noise and music. The silence you are living in right now is not proof that your song has ended. It is the space I am using to prepare you for the note that's coming next. Do not rush to fill it with the wrong sound. Just because the quiet has become uncomfortable. Trust the silence a little longer, beloved. It is not empty. It is intentional. One day you will listen back to this quiet season and hear exactly why I asked you to wait through it. Some of my most beautiful compositions begin with a long, deliberate rest, beloved. Yours is no exception. I have watched you try to finish this song by yourself more than once. You have taken people who were never written for this part and tried to force their sound into your melody. I understand why, beloved. The silence was heavy, and any voice at all felt better than none. But a melody forced together with the wrong harmony doesn't sound like music. It sounds like two songs fighting to be heard over each other. You have felt that, haven't you? The exhaustion of performing a duet with someone who was never actually singing your song. I did not let those relationships last, because I refuse to let noise take the place of what I am building for you. I know it felt like loss when they left. But I promise you, beloved, I was only clearing space for the voice that was actually written to complete you. Grieve what left if you need to, beloved. But do not mistake an empty stage for an unfinished story. An empty stage is simply a stage being reset, beloved. The next act is already being prepared behind the curtain. Every hard season you've walked through was not wasted time. It was a practice room, beloved. A place where I taught you how to hold a note even when it was hard. A place where I taught you how to keep singing even when no one clapped. A place where I taught you the difference between performing for approval and simply being honest with your own sound. You are not the same voice you were 5 years ago. You have depth now that you didn't have then. You have patience now that you didn't have then. You have a kind of honesty in your tone that only comes from years spent practicing alone in the dark. The person I am bringing to you could not have harmonized with your old sound. They needed this version of you. The one still standing after all those practice rooms. So when you wonder why the road here was so long, understand that I wasn't punishing you. I was rehearsing you for the performance of your life. Every practice room had a purpose. Not one of them was wasted on you. Right now, in a place you cannot see, someone is learning to sing in the same key as you. They don't fully understand why yet. They only know that something in them has been shifting lately. An old sound that used to satisfy them doesn't anymore. A restlessness that wasn't there before. A quiet sense that they are being prepared for something they can't quite name. That, beloved, is me, tuning them toward you. Keep listening, beloved, because in a few minutes, I am going to tell you the sign you'll actually be able to see. I am not doing this work in only one direction. While I shape your heart to receive them, I am shaping their heart to recognize you. 2 songs, composed separately, in different rooms, on different timelines. Slowly, patiently, being brought into the same key. You will not have to force this harmony when it finally happens. You will simply open your mouth to sing, and discover their voice already matches yours. That moment, beloved, will feel less like meeting a stranger, and more like finally hearing the other half of a song you already knew by heart. I know there are old songs in your memory that still ache when you think of them. Voices that once sounded so right, until they didn't. Duets that ended mid-verse, with no explanation, and no closure. I want to tell you something gently tonight. Those were never the wrong performances. They were rehearsals, beloved. Every one of them taught you something you needed to know before the real performance began. One taught you what you will no longer tolerate. Another taught you what real harmony actually feels like, even in small doses. Another simply taught you how to survive an ending and still want to sing again. None of it was wasted, even the parts that broke your heart. I do not waste pain, beloved. I turn it into wisdom, and I use that wisdom to prepare you for the song that was always meant to last. Look back at those old songs with gratitude instead of grief, beloved. They taught your ear what it needed to know before the real music began. Send them gratitude tonight, instead of resentment, beloved. Even the ones who hurt you left something behind. That made your ear sharper, and your heart wiser. I know the fear that visits you some nights, beloved. The fear that you missed your entrance. The fear that the song moved on without you. The fear that everyone else found their harmony, while you were still standing backstage, unsure when to walk out. I want to speak directly to that fear tonight. You have not missed your cue. A composer does not forget the parts he wrote himself. I know exactly where your entrance is, and I promise you, beloved, you have not walked past it. The song is not finished without your part. It cannot be. I wrote it that way on purpose, knowing exactly when your voice would be needed, and knowing it would arrive at precisely the right measure. So release the fear that whispers you're too late. You are not late. You are simply waiting for your cue, and I promise you, it is closer than you think. Keep your instrument ready, beloved. The conductor does not call an entrance before the player is prepared. When this person finally sings alongside you, beloved, you will not have to ask if it's right. You will feel it the way a trained ear feels a chord finally resolve. I promised you a sign at the start of this message, beloved. We are getting closer to it now, so do not step away. There will be no strain in the sound. No forcing 2 voices to fit together that were never meant to. No performance, no pretending, no trying to convince yourself it's working. It will simply resolve. The tension you've carried for years, the waiting, the wondering, the ache of an unfinished sound, will finally settle into something whole. This is what I mean when I say, I am bringing your soulmate, beloved. Not simply someone who sings well. Someone whose voice was written specifically to complete yours. You will know it the moment you hear it. Beloved, hold on to that tonight, doubting it will only make the waiting feel heavier than it needs to. The way you know silence has ended, the moment the right note finally arrives. There will be no rehearsal needed for that recognition. It will simply be there, the instant your voices meet. I want to be honest with you about something tonight, beloved. Waiting can change your voice, if you let it. Bitterness can flatten a beautiful sound. Fear can make you sing quieter than you were ever meant to. Comparison can make you doubt a melody I gave you on purpose. I am not asking you to wait quietly and shrink. I am asking you to keep singing while you wait. Keep living loudly, fully, unapologetically, in the melody I gave you long before this waiting season began. Do not let the silence steal your sound. The person I am bringing is not looking for someone who stopped singing out of fear. They are listening for the voice that kept singing anyway. Do not let this season silence you, beloved. The bravest music is always the music made while still waiting. I promise you, beloved, if you stay with me through the rest of this message, you will not regret giving me these next few minutes. So sing, beloved. Even now. Especially now. A quiet voice can still be heard by the one composing your story. Even when it feels like no one else is listening. I hear every note, beloved, even the ones you think are too quiet to matter. Not one of them has ever gone unnoticed. I know it feels, some days, like no one is directing this performance. Like the song is unraveling with no one holding it together. But I want you to remember something tonight, beloved. I am the conductor. I see every instrument on this stage at once. I know exactly when your part enters, and exactly when theirs does too. I am not distracted by the other songs playing around you. I am not confused about your tempo. I have never once lost the score. You only hear your own part. I hear the whole symphony, including the parts you haven't sung yet. Trust the conductor, beloved. Even when you cannot see the baton moving. You have trusted me through harder movements than this one, beloved. Trust me through this one too. The song is still being led. It has never once been left to chance. Rest in that tonight, beloved. A conductor this attentive does not lose a single player. There comes a moment in every great piece of music where the tempo begins, almost imperceptibly, to shift. I want you to know, beloved. You are near that moment now. You may not feel it yet in your circumstances. But I feel it in the score I've been writing. Small things will start to move a little faster. A conversation that surprises you. A name that keeps returning to your thoughts. A door that opens more easily than you expected. None of these will feel dramatic in the moment they happen. But I want you to notice them when they come. Because they are the first signs of a tempo about to change completely. I rarely announce the shift with a crash of cymbals. I usually announce it quietly. The way a single instrument enters softly, just ahead of the rest. Keep your ears open in the coming days, beloved. The shift may be quieter than you expect, but it will be unmistakable once you notice it. Do not miss it by staring too hard at the calendar, beloved. The tempo change is subtle, but your heart will recognize it the moment it happens. I already know the exact measure where your two songs will finally meet. This is close to the part I promised you, beloved. Stay a little longer, the sign is coming. I have known it since before either of you were ever born. It may happen somewhere ordinary. A place you have passed 100 times without noticing. Or somewhere entirely new, waiting quietly to become unforgettable. I am not going to tell you the details tonight, beloved. Because some music is only meant to be heard, not read in advance. But I want you to keep showing up to your own life fully, starting now. Say yes to invitations you'd normally decline. Show up to ordinary rehearsals as if they might be sacred. Because one of them, beloved, absolutely will be. I am not asking you to chase this harmony down. I am asking you to keep singing your part faithfully. So that when your voices finally meet, you are not hiding backstage. You are already in full voice, ready to be joined. That readiness, beloved, is not wasted time. It is exactly what makes the meeting, when it comes, feel effortless instead of forced. Keep being exactly who I made you to be, beloved. The one I'm bringing was never looking for a performance, only for the honest sound you already carry. I want to free you from something tonight, beloved. I am not asking you to audition for this. I am not asking you to change your sound to please someone who hasn't even arrived yet. I am not asking you to sing louder out of desperation, hoping the right ears will finally notice you. That kind of performing will only exhaust you. I am asking you to simply keep singing the melody I gave you from the beginning. The right voice will not need convincing. They will recognize your sound immediately, the way a familiar song stirs something before you even remember its name. Let your hands rest, instead of grasping. Let your voice stay honest instead of performing for approval. I am not asking you to finish this song by yourself. I am only asking you to trust the one who is already writing the next verse. Rest in that tonight, beloved. You do not have to write the ending, you only have to keep singing the verse in front of you. Release the pressure to be perfect before they arrive, beloved. They are not coming for a flawless performance. They are coming for your honest one. I want to picture something with you tonight, beloved. Picture a harmony that doesn't require translation. Picture a conversation that flows the way a familiar song flows, verse after verse, without stumbling. Picture two voices choosing the same note, at the exact same moment, without either one leading. This is not simply a fantasy. I'm describing to you. This is the sound I have been composing, through every hard season you have already survived. The silence you feel right now is not your permanent address, beloved. It is an intermission. And I promise you, an intermission was never meant to be the whole performance. There is a second half still coming. And I already know exactly how beautiful it sounds. Let that be enough to carry you through the quiet stretch still ahead, beloved. Intermissions end. This one will too. I know some nights the intermission feels like it will never end, beloved. But an audience that trusts the composer always stays seated for the second half. You are that audience tonight. Stay seated. The lights are about to come back up. I know you want a date, beloved. A measure number. A page. Something to circle, so the waiting finally feels bearable. I am not going to give you that tonight. Because dates were never really the point. Trust was always the point. If I gave you the exact measure, you would stop rehearsing the moment you had it. You would coast instead of continuing to grow into who you're meant to become. So instead of a date, I am giving you something better tonight. My word that the second voice is coming. Let that be enough for you tonight, beloved. Let it carry you through the next quiet morning, the next lonely evening, the next moment you wonder if you somehow misread the score completely. You did not misread it. I am not a composer who abandons a piece halfway through. I have finished every piece I have ever started, beloved. This one is no different. Think of every unfinished feeling season you've already lived through, beloved. Each one resolved eventually, in its own time, in its own way. This season will resolve too, and it will resolve into something far more beautiful than the waiting ever felt. Before I bring you to the final part of tonight's message, I want to leave you with this, beloved. You do not have to wait anxiously. Anxious waiting exhausts your voice and changes nothing about my timing. Peaceful waiting strengthens your sound and prepares you for what's actually coming. Choose peace tonight, even if it takes real practice at first. Choose to trust that I have never once lost track of your song. Even on the days it feels like maybe I have. I know how tired you are of hoping, beloved. But I did not compose this piece to leave it unfinished. I am the God who finishes what he starts. And I started this one a very long time ago. Rest in that tonight, beloved. The composer who began this song has never once walked away from an unfinished piece. So breathe a little easier tonight, beloved. The hardest part of waiting is not the waiting itself. It is believing, in the middle of it, that the composer hasn't forgotten you. I have not. I never will. Somewhere, right now, beloved. This person is living an entirely ordinary day. They may be tired, the same way you sometimes feel tired. They may be quietly wondering if the music ever plays for people like them. I want you to pray for them tonight. Not because you know their name yet, but simply because I do. Pray for their strength on the hardest of days. Pray for the courage to keep practicing, even when they can't hear the applause yet. Pray that whatever they are walking through right now is preparing them the same way your own trials have prepared you. You are more connected to this person than you realize, even now. Your prayers reach further than you think, beloved. I hear every one of them. And I carry them straight to the heart of the one I am tuning for you. This has never been one-sided work. It never was, and it never will be. While you pray for a stranger you haven't met yet, beloved, somewhere, they may be doing the exact same thing for you, without ever knowing your name. That is how tightly I have woven this story together. I want to tell you something that might surprise you, beloved. It will probably not happen on a day you rehearsed for. It will likely be an ordinary afternoon. The kind where you weren't thinking about music at all in that particular moment. That is how I usually work, beloved. In the middle of the unremarkable, not the middle of a grand performance. You will be simply living your life. Doing something small and forgettable. And somewhere in that ordinary moment, the whole room will quietly change key. I tell you this not so you'll spend every day listening anxiously for it, but so that when it happens, you'll recognize my hand in it immediately. You will look back later and realize that the most important harmony of your life arrived wearing the most ordinary clothes. So do not wait for a grand stage, beloved. Just keep living your beautifully ordinary days. One of them is about to become the day your song finally sounds complete. Keep a little excitement in your heart for the ordinary days ahead, beloved. You never know which forgettable Tuesday I've already circled on my calendar. Beloved, before we pray, here is what I want you to watch for. I told you at the very start of this message that I would not leave you without an answer. I keep my promises, beloved, even the small ones I make in the middle of the night. In the coming days. Notice the moment a song plays that you haven't heard in years, and it stops you completely. Notice the moment a stranger's small kindness catches you off guard, for no clear reason at all. Notice the sudden, unexplainable urge to reach out to someone you'd almost let yourself forget. These are not rules, beloved, and they are not guarantees of a date or a name. They are simply reminders. Gentle taps on your shoulder telling you, the tuning is almost finished. When you notice one, whisper a quiet thank you. And keep living your song exactly as I've asked you to tonight. You do not need all three signs to trust me, beloved. Even one small confirmation is me tapping your shoulder, reminding you the song is nearly finished. Keep your eyes open, and keep your heart soft enough to notice. Let us pray together now, beloved. Close your eyes if you're able to. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breathing slow. Let this be the one moment in your whole day where you stop performing for anyone. I am asking you tonight to release every fear you've carried about singing this song alone forever. I am asking you to release every comparison that has told you your timing is somehow wrong. I am asking you to release the old duets, the old silences, the old voices that once told you no one was coming. And now, beloved, I am asking you to receive. Receive peace over the waiting. Receive strength for the ordinary rehearsals that don't feel like progress, but quietly are. Receive courage to keep singing the melody I gave you, even when no one else can hear it yet. I am praying over the voice being tuned for you right now, this very moment. That it reaches the right key at exactly the right time. I am praying over your own voice as well. That it stays honest, stays warm, stays fully yours until the moment it finally has someone to harmonize with. I am sealing this promise over your life tonight. Your soulmate is coming. Not because you sang loud enough to earn it. Not because you finally performed your way into deserving it. But because I wrote this duet long before you ever feared you'd sing it alone. I have never once composed a duet I didn't intend to finish, beloved. Not one. Not ever. And I am not going to start with yours. Hold on to that tonight, beloved. Let it be the last thing you believe before you fall asleep. And the very first thing you remember when you wake. Say it out loud if you need to, beloved, even just once tonight. My soulmate is coming, and I am not singing this song alone anymore. Let those words settle into your bones before you close your eyes. This message is offered as encouragement and reflection. Not as a literal prediction of specific events or timing. Carry this prayer with you tonight, beloved, into whatever tomorrow holds. You are not waiting alone. You never were. My beloved child. Thank you for staying with me tonight, all the way to the final note. You did not have to stay. You could have closed this video at any point. But you didn't, beloved, and that tells me something about your heart. It tells me you are ready for what I'm about to say next. If this message reached the quiet, unfinished place in your heart, share it with someone else who needs to hear it too. And if these words found you exactly when you needed them, subscribe to Gentle Whisper Grace so you never miss the next message meant for you. I am not finished with your song, beloved. I am only just getting to the best part. There is so much more music still ahead of you, beloved. More than you can imagine from where you're sitting tonight. Rest now. Your soulmate is coming. And I already know how beautifully your voices will sound together. I have known it since before you ever learned to sing at all. Good night, beloved. I will be here the next time your heart needs me.